What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and if you are new, then welcome to the channel. I'm JC. This is my RB25DET that you really can't see right now, but today I'm gonna go ahead and disassemble the whole engine. We're gonna get ready for the machine shop, getting it ready for that full rebuild, and getting it ready to go into my 240 over here. So let's get started right now. Alright, everybody. So I'm gonna first get started on this thing by let's take off all the easy stuff first. Let's take off all the accessory stuff, power steering, AC that we won't be using, alternator, the turbo side. Let's drain the oil first things first. Now the transmission is already off, and that's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. It's just a bunch of bolts that go around the bell housing, and also the starter is off because the starter will come off when you take off the transmission, since it goes just right there. You remove the tranny bolts, the starter will come out. Now also, when you guys are doing a full engine disassembly, I highly recommend you get some sandwich bags and a permanent marker. So what I do is, whatever bolts I take off, I'll go ahead and mark them, RB flywheel and starter. So these are all my flywheel bolts, and the starter bolts are also in here. And I also have the RB tranny bolts. So all my tranny bolts here, the starter bolts and the flywheel bolts are all there. Also the flywheel is down here chilling. All that's pretty self-explanatory. Now let's see if this thing has any oil in it. Hopefully there's no shavings in it, and we'll go ahead and get started on the turbo side first. Alright guys, so to remove the AC compressor from your RB, it's going to be 4 bolts that hold on to brackets. 1, 2, 3 in there, and 4 down here. We actually can't get to that one because the AC compressor is in the way. So you have to undo this bolt, and this bottom bolt. So the whole AC compressor comes off, and then this whole bracket with the pulley assembly will come off. 2 separate pieces, so do these 2 first and the bottom one, and then we'll do the 4 on the bracket. Alright, so we got the AC bracket and the AC compressor off. Now we got a whole lot more room. Let's go ahead and do the power steering pump, since we're already on that same side. Now this I won't be using, and if anybody wants a RB25 AC compressor bracket, just let me know, it's free. For the power steering, we actually have to take off this tube first because it's blocking that bolt behind it right there. It's gonna be 1, 2, 3 that hold on the bracket, and the whole pump should come off. Now also, this is actually a drain tube for the head, drains oil back into the block. So let's go ahead and remove that first, and we'll tackle the pump. So just with the power steering and the AC compressor out of the way, also remove the little pickup tube, just those 10 mils and the little 10 mil on the bracket. We've got so much more room. We can see the turbo in there now. Factory Nissan. I don't know if it's a T28, T25. I'm not sure. Not a lot of people know. It's supposed to be ceramic house or whatever. But now let's get to these. Actually, let's do the turbo first. For that, we got to remove the oil lines and the coolant lines. So there's oil line on top, oil line on the bottom, coolant, and there's another coolant on that side. That's going to be a pain right here where my finger is. So coolant, oil, and the oil drain. Let's go ahead and remove all those, and then we'll do these 4 bolts on top. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the whole turbo should come off, and we'll be able to get this manifold off. That back coolant line, which runs all the way, see if we can get it from the other side, because there's no way we're getting a big old socket in there. Yeah, so it runs all the way back here. We're gonna disconnect it right here where it goes into the block. Luckily it's a rubber hose, so we'll just remove that, pull the line out, and pull the turbo out with the hard line. It's gonna be the easiest way because you can't get a wrench in there. There's no way. So let me go ahead and remove that, and then we'll tackle these 4 on top. Also really quick, for the coolant line, got this removed. There's actually little brackets that hold it to the block, so some little 10 mils. This one, you're gonna have to do it with a wrench. You can't fit a socket here, it's too small. But now it's loose, and we're gonna remove the 4 and get that turbo off. So we're actually gonna remove the heat shield first. So it's a couple 10 mils, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So all those are holding the heat shield to the manifold. So let's go ahead and remove this. This is what the manifold looks like without the heat shield. It's actually pretty small. And you see the turbo right here. Alright, I finally managed to get this thing off. So what I had to do with these little tabs is I actually got a flathead and just hammered them away like a chisel. Just got them out of the way. Got them all 4. This one's the toughest. This one you can actually fit a socket through here. So all of them are loose. Now the turbo's coming off. Let me set you guys down. And the turbo, along with all the lines, is out. So now we have just the manifold. Now we can do all these manifold bolts or nuts. Super easy. Here's the turbo. It's actually pretty small. My ISR turbo is actually a lot bigger than this. But one side almost done. We're just gonna do the manifold, and we'll go ahead and tackle this monstrosity here. Oh my god, all these lines, everything. If I thought these were a pain to get to, that's gonna be even worse. So let's just break all these loose. So finally got the manifold off. That was a pain. All the studs are clean. We might replace them anyway, but manifold is off. I had to hammer that thing out. Turbo is off, AC is off, power steering is off. So now we're gonna go ahead and tackle that side, but we're gonna go ahead and do that tomorrow. Alright guys, so new day for me. Didn't really affect you guys. Now we went ahead and we took apart that side like you guys just saw. Now we're gonna tackle this side, and I'm gonna start off. Let's take off these hoses right here. These are the coolant hoses. It's just your regular clamps right there, down there. So we'll go ahead and take these off, and then I'm gonna tackle the alternator, which is gonna be this bolt right here. It's pretty long, and you got 2 up here next to the water pump, and we got this one on the back side. This one actually controls the tension of the belt. So we'll go ahead and take that off, take the slack off the belt, take it off, take that one off, and then take these 2 that are holding it onto this bracket. I might be able to get to that one with a wrench. That one, same thing with a wrench, because the the water pump pulley is actually in the way. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll tackle the manifold. So actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and take off the pulley because these are already loose anyway. So I'll take off the pulley, and I'll be able to get to these 2. Took off that one and loosened up these. This one back here, and this one holds the tension. Alright, so alternator is off, coolant hoses are off. Look at this thing, so freaking crusty. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take off this motor mount, get it out of the way. Just 14 mils, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead, break those loose, and the whole motor mount's gonna come off. Now go ahead and start removing all these hoses down here. Same thing with the oil filter and the little block that holds it to the engine block. So let's get started on that. So exhaust side and intake side are now disassembled. All we are left is the main block. Now I'm gonna go ahead and upload this in part 2 because this video is getting a little long, and I can go more into detail on the actual main block, which is the more important stuff. So I'm gonna do it back to back. You guys don't have to wait for that. I'm gonna go put a link here or here, wherever it is, so you guys go watch. If you want to see the main part, all the accessories, all the other stuff is already gone. So let's head over to the next video right now.